Level 1, the Uninitiated. The letter arrives on a Tuesday, no return address. Your name is spelled correctly, which means someone has been watching. Inside is a single card, cream-colored, heavy stock, 1 sentence. You have been considered. That's all. No phone number, no instructions. You ask around, no one knows anything. Or they pretend not to. 3 days later, a man sits next to you at a coffee shop you always go to. He doesn't introduce himself. He orders black coffee. He says, without looking up, that you should be at a specific address on Friday at 9. And then he leaves. He forgets to take his coffee. You go on a Friday. Of course you go. The address is a law office that looks completely ordinary. A receptionist takes your name, hands you a non-disclosure agreement, and points to a chair. You sit for 40 minutes. Then a door opens. A man in a gray suit nods at you. You follow him down a hallway, down a staircase, and into a room with no windows. There are 11 other people already seated. They look like you. Normal, confused, chosen for reasons you don't understand yet. A voice from somewhere in the room says, "Welcome to the first test." You don't see who is speaking. You won't know any of their names for months. You won't know your own name here. From this moment, you are assigned a number. You are 12. Your job right now is simple. Listen, observe, say nothing outside these walls. The first test has begun, and you don't even know what you're being tested on. Level 2, the Observed. 6 weeks pass. You meet every Friday. You are given tasks that seem random. Translate this document. Memorize this map. Find this person's public record without using the internet. Sit in this park for 3 hours and write down everything you see. You don't ask why. That's the point. The other 11 people in your cohort are dropping. Not dramatically, they just stop showing up. 12 becomes 9. 9 becomes 6. Nobody explains the departures. One Friday, the man who sat beside you every week simply isn't there, and no one mentions him. You are learning the first rule. The society does not explain itself to you. You explain yourself to the society. At the end of week 6, the man in the gray suit hands you a new card. Your number has changed. You are now designated by a symbol. Not a name, not a number, a symbol. You don't know what it means yet. He tells you that you've passed the observation phase. You want to ask what you passed. You don't ask. That's also the point. Level 3, the Apprentice. Now you have a mentor. You don't pick them, they pick you. She is a woman in her late 50s who gives you her title, not her name. You call her the Archivist. She is meticulous and cold and occasionally terrifying. She tells you on your first meeting that her job is to teach you how the world actually works, not the version you were shown in school. You meet twice a week. She hands you documents, historical records, financial structures, interconnected corporate ownership charts that loop back on themselves in ways that make your eyes cross. She explains how 3 men in a room can alter the outcome of an election in a country they've never visited. She shows you the gap between the story the public is told and the mechanics underneath it. You are not being trained to be powerful, not yet. You are being trained to understand power. There is a difference, and it matters enormously. At the end of the 3 months, she gives you your first real assignment. A local city council vote is coming up, a construction permit. You are to attend the public meeting, observe, and write a report on who in that room is working for whom. Not what they say, who they are working for. You attend, you watch, you write your report. 2 weeks later, the permit is denied. You don't know if your report had anything to do with it. You suspect it did. You say nothing. Level 4, the Courier. You carry things now. Not drugs, not weapons, information. A thumb drive, a sealed envelope, occasionally just a message you've memorized and deliver verbally, word for word, to a man waiting in a hotel lobby in a city you fly to and fly back from in the same day. You do not know what the information contains. That is by design. You are not a decision maker. You are a vein in a body carrying something vital from one organ to another without needing to understand the whole anatomy. The work is boring. Long flights, waiting rooms, handshakes with strangers whose names you won't remember and whose faces you will. The risk is low at your level, but it isn't zero. Once, a man follows you for 2 blocks outside a train station in a foreign city. You do what you were trained to do. You turn into a department store, spend 20 minutes browsing, exit through a different door, take 3 turns that make no logical sense, and walk to a cafe. The man is gone. Your hands shake around your cup of coffee for a full hour. That night, you file a report. The archivist sends back one word: good. Level 5, the Analyst. You are no longer moving, you are thinking. You sit at a desk with access to information that would make a journalist's career and probably end yours if it ever got out. Your job is to find patterns, connect the dots between an investment decision in one country and a policy shift in another. Notice the thing that doesn't fit. You are good at this. That's why you're here. You have 2 junior apprentices now who bring you data. You remember being them. You give them nothing. Not coldly, but carefully. They will learn what they need to learn when they need to learn it. That's how this works. Once a month, you sit in a room with 7 other analysts. You share findings. You debate. The debates are sharp and occasionally vicious, but never personal. Feelings don't belong in the room. Data does. Conclusions do. The one time someone raises their voice, the meeting ends immediately. It does not happen again. You are beginning to see the shape of the thing you work inside. It is larger than you imagined when you sat in that windowless room as number 12. It is older. It is more patient. It does not move fast. It moves correctly. Level 6, the Operator. You make calls now, not phone calls, decisions. When the analysts produce their findings, someone has to decide what to do. Sometimes that is inaction, which is also a decision. Sometimes it is a targeted intervention, a meeting arranged between 2 people who didn't know they needed to meet. A document quietly surfaced to the right journalist. A funding stream redirected before a bad actor can access it. You have a small team. You rarely meet them in person. You have a budget you account for in ways that would confuse an ordinary auditor, but you are perfectly clear to the one who reviews your books, who is also inside. You are not comfortable. Comfort was a lower level luxury. At this level, you operate in a state of permanent alertness that has become your resting state. You sleep fine, you eat fine, you just never fully switch off. Your partner notices. You can't explain it. That's the job. Level 7, the Architect. You sit in rooms where the outcomes are decided, not the outcomes the public sees, the underlying conditions that make certain outcomes inevitable. You are helping to design systems. Long horizon thinking. What does this region look like in 20 years if this policy takes hold? What happens to this institution if this particular person rises to lead it? There are 9 people at your level. You have known some of them for a decade. You still don't know their real names. You know their minds. You know how they think. That is more intimate. You are trusted completely. That means you are also watched completely. The society does not stop watching its own. It especially watches the one who could do the most damage. That is not a threat. It is simply how something endures for centuries. Trust is verified, not assumed. One evening after a long meeting, a woman across the table, the one you've worked beside for 7 years, looks at you and says, "You're being considered for the inner circle." She says it the way someone tells you that rain is coming. Factual, no drama. You nod, you say nothing. That's still the point. Level 8, the Circle. There are 7 of you. You will never see all 7 in the same room. That is a security architecture, not a preference. You know the others through their work, their decisions, the texture of their thinking. You have never shaken 2 of their hands. At this level, the work has almost no visible surface. You are not moving anything yourself anymore. You are the reason the thing moves. You carry no title outside. You hold no office. You appear in all official records to be exactly what your cover says you are. Unremarkable, a consultant, a retired academic, a modest investor. What you carry is weight, the accumulated trust of an organization older than most countries. When you make a recommendation, it goes. When you say wait, everything waits. You think sometimes about the man who sat next to you in a coffee shop all those years ago, who forgot his coffee on purpose, whose name you never learned. You wonder how many people he sat beside that year. You wonder how many of them said no. You wonder what their lives look like. Level 9, the voice. There is no ceremony, there is no promotion letter. One morning, you simply are the voice. You will hold this role until you choose your successor or until you die. Those are the options. You don't run the society. No single person runs the society. The voice is a different function. You are the one who speaks when the 7 cannot agree, a tiebreaker with the weight of everything behind it. You have said no to 2 wars, not publicly, in rooms, quietly. You have said yes to one intervention that most people alive today don't know about and never will. You believe it was right. You think about it every day. You wake up early, you make your own coffee. Nobody fetches it for you. There are no ceremonies, no one kneels. The power at this level is invisible and total and completely without theater. That is how you know it is real. You chose this life. Or rather, this was the life that chose you.